Welcome back, Georgina. Now, holistic nutrition, I have no idea what that is. I know nutrition, but our next guest, Natasha Haeson, registered holistic nutritionist, you're going to tell us what that means. Welcome to Georgina Life.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So what is holistic nutrition? Holistic nutrition is a lot like what Pamela was talking about, where we're blending both the physical body and the interplay between our mind and our spirit as well. So nutrition isn't just what we feed and put into our body in terms of physical food, but it's also the thoughts, feelings, and the other things that we consume as well. So whether it's movies, media, television, news, beautiful shows like this as well. All of this informs our nutrition in terms of our body and our makeup. So holistic nutrition is really about understanding the interplay of all of those relationships and their connection to the individual biochemical relationship of the person. So what's good for me might not always be good for the other person. Exactly. And that's the holistic part of it as well.
What a broad lens.
Isn't it?
Listening to you, it's like, wow, again, something for everyone.
Absolutely, yeah. And it really changes the concept of looking at food just for dietary purposes, but understanding what it's doing for us in terms of feeding our spiritual selves, our mental selves. We're looking at the vibration of the foods we eat. A holistic nutritionist is also concerned about local farming practices, the distance of food to table. You know, we want to eat locally grown food, sustainable. Some of our concepts as well are keeping environmentally clean living spaces, so free of toxins.
My gosh, this is so complex.
It is. And then also taking a look at supplementation, not as a way to overcome a nutritious diet, but to understand that all diets have deficiencies that do need to be supplemented with.
Right.
You know, our soils have been depleted of their minerals, so we need to supplement with minerals. We live in what's called the goiter belt. So, for example, iodine is really important for us. Lots of things. So this is some of what you're going to hear about at the Georgina Wholistic Healing Summit.
I think it's so exciting. I mean, when I think about supplements, it was, I do a handful of a multivite, shove it in my face in the morning, along with my coffee.
Yeah,
Get that caffeine and my vitamins, and I figure I'm good to go. I never think past that. Maybe a little vitamin C if it was on sale.
Yeah.
But it's very, very strange because there is a lot of chatter about supplements.
And there
and what
is,
they look
because
like
it is an industry. It's $1 billion industry, which means that there is always going to be, on the spectrum of things that aren't as good for us and things that are a little bit better.
Yes.
So a holistic nutritionist might, for example, suggest to take a whole food supplement.
Okay.
So say like a green powder mix in water that is made up of different food constituents as opposed to chemically grown vitamins and minerals from, say, a Jameson bottle.
I have no idea what you're speaking of. But it's true, and we don't think about that because as soon as you say green, I go, yuck, that's not going to taste good.
And then the other part of the holistic is the whole food aspect of things. Okay. So eating, I don't promote any one diet to my clients, whether you're vegan, keto, omnivore.
Yeah.
We promote eating whole food, so staying away from processed.
Yes.
So whether it's vegan processed cheese, or whether it's, processed smoked meats. Any kind of processing that's done to food.
Oh, gosh, what's in processed smoked meats?
Yeah, we don't want to know.
Nitrates, so bad for us.
We don't want to know.
Learning how to eat a whole food diet is really, really important because that's how we talk to ourselves. So we have this biochemical relationship to our food, and we need to be able to, like a computer reads a code to run a program, we need to be able to read the code of the food that we're eating. So when it comes to us in a whole form, where it's almost like we get the whole program, and now our body's able to not just consume it, but we want to also absorb and assimilate those nutrients into the right places in our body.
Wow. See, that makes total sense, because when I think about it, when you don't feel quite right, maybe you've overindulged in something that you shouldn't. It's like something in your body is not making a connection. And that's sort of how I've felt at times.
Yes.
Right.
So does that make sense?
Absolutely. And when we're eating processed food, or denatured food, and another way to say that, and we're forcing our body to read broken pieces of code, we end up with a lot of inflammation.
Right.
And that's those pieces that aren't connecting together, and now we're not feeling as good.
Right.
Because even though we consumed calories, we didn't consume the right nutrition.
Right.
Very true.
So
Yeah, that's, yes.
That makes sense.
Yes, and that's where I always say read your labels.
oh, that's
Read
scary.
your labels. If you can't pronounce it,
Yeah.
don't put it in your mouth.
Well, another thing that a holistic nutritionist might tell a client is shop on the outside of a grocery store.
Right.
And skip the inner aisles. A lot of
Right.
the time it's the inner aisles where you're going to find
Oh my
those
gosh,
packaged
yes.
and processed foods.
Yes.
But on the outside is where you're going to find your
Yes.
vegetables, your fruits, even whole grains and stuff.
Yeah.
Eggs, milk, cheese. I'm certainly not vegan myself, so I do promote whole foods in all spectrums.
Mm-hmm.
But there are benefits to all different kinds of diets for the bio-individuality of each people.
Yes.
Exactly.
So if you grew up in a tropical environment, it might be easier for you to be vegan year-round, whereas if your genetics come from a northern environment, you might actually require the meat in your diet a little bit
Right.
more because you were
Makes sense.
evolved
It
to understand that way of eating.
Wow, that's so. Where are we sending our viewers to get in touch with you?
Well, if you want to get in touch with me, you can visit me at www.lifeforcenutritioncanada.com. That's my website.
Okay.
I offer nutritional services, counseling, and I also make and sell natural products.
Fabulous.
So,
one-stop shop. Love it.
Yeah, so at the Georgina Holistic Healing
Okay,
Summit,
super.
not only will we be speaking,
Oh no, gotta cut you off.
That's
Thank you so
okay.
much, Georgina. Don't go anywhere. We have still got so much more on today's Georgina Life. I mean, this.